Hey everybody, I'm Robert. Welcome back to the channel and welcome down here to the Apex barn. Today I thought it would be really cool to bring Pete in and talk about the E30 M3 paint condition. For those of you that don't know Pete, I think actually the reality is I don't bring a ton of people on the channel. It's just because I enjoy sitting and talking. I'm not the best at interviewing and going through this, but Pete's been working for us for years here at Apex. He is an absolute master at detailing, polishing cars. The first time I met him, he was detailing my Speciale. Yeah. And when I came in, he had a headlamp on and he was like, you know, Q-tipping places that I didn't even know the car had. And I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. So I have a lot of respect for Pete as a car detailer and as a perfectionist. So Pete takes care of my fleet of cars. He takes care of all the Apex cars. He's the go-to guy. So Pete, you know that this car, we just got it. We just brought it back to Apex. It's been here for what, 2 days now. And this is not the original color. So the car was red originally in 1988 when the car was built, and in 1991 it was switched to blue. According to all the paperwork that we have on the car had never been repainted since. Obviously I can't prove that. So what we want to do today is have Pete take us around the car, show us the imperfections that it has, show us the problems that it has, and what I've told you guys about in a prior video is that since so many of you said, Robert, keep the car blue, I'm going to do it for at least one season. I'm going to keep the car blue for at least one season, so Pete's also going to tell us what he thinks we need to do to the car to keep it good for one season, because what did I just do? I drove it in the salt, right? Yeah. And what, I mean, do you see a lot of salt when you go around the car right now?
Underneath there was quite a bit, yes.
Okay.
Up top, not so much, but it has gotten into the nooks and crannies. I mean, we just looked at the sunroof, for example, and the salt is inside the gutters.
So the reality is that I said, I'm going to take the car home, I'm going to repaint it, I'm driving it in the salt because I just want to. And then so many people said, keep it blue for a year, drive it, be excited about it. And I said, okay, I will do it. So now we have a little bit of work to do to clean that up, right?
A little bit, yep.
But before we get in and show all the salt and everything, what do you think of the overall condition of the paint, knowing the age of the car, even just the body as you've been looking at it? What's your take on everything?
Overall, for a 30-year-old paint job, it's good. It's been kept good, it's definitely been polished. There's a couple of spaces that will definitely tells me that it has been polished at least quite a few times and machine polished properly. So the overall condition is good.
When you look at the car, you can pretty well tell that it was kept inside all of its life. It really probably didn't spend a night out.
Not that I can tell, no. There's really no like water spots in any of the nooks and crannies that I can see so far. I mean, I haven't looked at the engine bay yet, but still.
As we've been going around the car, we did the initial inspection with George when we went and looked at it. Even called Tom Shermer and we're saying, okay, what are all the key points that we need to look at on this car? And Tom was going through and telling everything from fuel line crossovers that fail in these cars to where the first rust spots are. Have you found anything that concerns you or anything that I should be worried about with the car in terms of rust or corrosion or anything?
Not yet. The only part that I did find was on the passenger side. Basically inside the A-pillar, there's a couple of little bubbles. It could be dirt underneath the paint. It could be rust. We don't know yet. It sounds solid. It doesn't sound like rust. So.
So it could just be over 30 years. They didn't have a good adhesion and maybe it's starting to come apart. But there's no paint flaking or anywhere.
No, there's really only a couple of stone chips in the front. There's a couple of little nibs in like corners of panels where it's obviously touched something.
Got it.
Where it's ground off basically.
Oh, like a body panel not fitting correctly or something.
Exactly,
like that.
Yeah. Where it's just nibbed a little bit of something and then that's it. But I don't see any flaking. I don't see any delamination of the lacquer, anything like that. So overall,
from your professional experience, or I could say even advice, what will you do? Because Pete has free reign of this car. He knows that if we get a car, Pete does what he wants and he does what he needs to make sure that it's maintained and make sure that it's functioning. What will you do to this car? What should we do to this car so that it's ready for me to drive for a year? I promise I won't drive it in the salt anymore.
Well, it definitely needs a quick little polish. It's not too bad. I mean, I've been going through our fleet of rentals at this very moment. So comparing to any one of our rentals, this is...
Yeah, I mean, we've got cars that are getting absolutely hammered on the Nürburgring by customers and car parks and, you know, fingernails opening door handles and things like that and stone chips, right?
The Black Polo is now 3 seasons old.
Right, yeah.
The 218 is 4 seasons old. Neither one of them have been polished a single time in their life.
Yeah, so you're having fun
and I'm working on both of those right now.
So with this, you do a light polish on the car?
Light polish on the car, and then we can see if we want to do PPF.
Okay.
At least, if we do PPF, then I would do at least...
The front half?
full front.
Okay.
Because if you do a half...
Oh, no,
front,
I meant
like
the
a
front
bra-
half of the car. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
full front, so bumper, bonnet, fenders, and then at least side skirts.
Right.
And then a little bit of the rear bumper.
And
That's the minimum.
I think that I'm sitting here like, I'm not doing PPF because I'm painting it next year.
That's the thing.
And the reality, though, is that I also drove it in the salt because I'm painting it tomorrow, right? And now we're going to go through and do a full detail on it. So the reality is that even though in my mind I want to paint this car red, I probably should do the PPF because the car is in pretty good shape. And if I don't, I might say, gosh, I'm fond of the blue. I can paint the car in 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. That doesn't matter. So I probably should do the PPF, right?
I would do it.
Okay.
At least partial PPF, the fronts and the side skirts.
What do you guys think? Should I PPF it and then take away some motivation and maybe paint it? Or should I let it go raw and then maybe in a year I'm like, oh, I have no choice, I've got to paint it now. What do you guys think? Pete, why don't you take us around and show us a couple of the things that you saw in the car?
Sure.
Do you notice any fade in the paint anywhere?
There was a little bit. So, I mean, you said it's about 30 years old. So if I peel back a little bit, where's my flashlight? There we go. I can see just a little bit of pigment fade.
Oh yeah, you can see right along that edge right there that the blue is a little bit deeper, huh?
Where the rubber has been covering up the paint pigments, it's a little bit darker than on the outside.
Okay.
So that tells me it could definitely very well be 30-year-old paint.
Right, and I think that based on what you see of the car, because it is so clean and there's so little damage everywhere, or I would say paint flaws, imperfections, and the car was kept inside a lot. So it would make sense that we have some light fading, but not
huge.
Exactly.
I mean, take any car from the 80s that's red.
Right.
It's pink.
It's pinkish
it's matte
orange.
pink.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't have any clear coat left, so
Absolutely.
it's all been peeled off. So, but other than that, yeah, there's a little bit of cleaning to do in the nooks and crannies, slight little polish. There's a few stone chips in the front.
Okay.
The front valance looks like it's a different texture, basically.
Yeah, I
underneath the
noticed that,
paint.
and I was wondering if that was just because it was a different type of material, being that the valance is plastic, and you know the bonnet, obviously the hood is obviously metal.
It could be. It could very well be that valance is more like a rubber or like a more textured plastic instead of just direct plastic, or it could be that it has actually been repainted
because of stone chips.
At some point.
You can see that it actually is the most nicked up section of the car.
It is.
It really does have the most, I would say, wear and tear on it.
It definitely
But it still
does.
isn't in bad condition.
Oh no! It's really, really good. And I mean, even the glass on the headlights, it's perfectly in good condition. It's a little bit dirty, but
no problems, huh?
I don't see any stone chips. I don't see them being that sound blasted.
They work, they turn on, I can tell you that much.
That's a good part. But yeah.
And you know, even the windshield, in terms of rock chips and everything, you can see that probably when the car did go out, it wasn't running at full highway speeds. The windshield is in really good shape. I mean, the 675 LT is far worse off than this.
It could very well be even an original glass. Who knows?
Yeah, very interesting.
I mean, I can see that the wipers have been used. There's definitely, you can see like a line right here where this side is scratched and this side is not.
Right, exactly.
Just because of the wipers. So that means that it is not a brand new car.
That might have been on our test drive. We were test driving it in the rain.
Yeah, that takes a little bit longer than that, but still.
Well, guys, I think that wraps up a little bit of a paint inspection with Pete. Oh, show him the sunroof. That's what we didn't look at. It almost wraps up a little inspection with Pete. So the sunroof, Pete was saying it looks pretty clean other than my salt job.
I mean, there's a little bit of salt, there's a little bit of dust. But, for example, if we look at where the drain is, it's perfectly clear, it's perfectly clean, there's no rust anywhere. I don't think this has seen much of storing outside.
Right. Probably not much driving in the rain either.
Nah. I mean, you can see that, like, for example, this felt kind of...
Yeah, a little faded, huh?
It's a little bit faded, but other than that...
When we redo the whole car, these are the things that I really do want to replace. I want to replace all this felt and all the rubbers that we can get our hands on. You know, anything like that we can do, I hope I can locate, and I do want to restore all that. But for now, I think you guys have convinced me to run it like this for a year, so we're going to do that. And if Pete doesn't see anything that he's overly concerned about, polish,
polish.
Some PPF on the front and then coating on the whole car.
Coating,
so it's easy to
everything.
take care of. And, we go
And
from there.
we'll do it really nice for the paint shop, and we'll coat the door jambs and everything so that they'll curse me once they start
when they
sanding
try
it
to
down.
sand it all down. Awesome, guys. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of insight or a look into the paint on this car. I think you noticed that for me, this is a really exciting project because I'm buying a new Pista, I'm buying a new 675, a new 765. That's speccing a car, buying it, getting it delivered and using it. And this is actually for me a lot of fun going and getting a new old car and getting to do this kind of stuff and looking through it and maybe even finding problems that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
But this is what I hope is going to be part of the journey and part of the excitement. So hope you guys enjoy what we go through over the next year, I guess, with our blue E30 M3. Anyways, thanks a lot. Thank you, Pete.
Welcome.
And we'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.